There are a lot of cars in the world today. From newly minted ones that are aiming to turn heads, to classics that just about every car fan is aiming to get at one point or another, there's a lot to enjoy. But when it comes right down to it, many car owners don't just want the best, they want the most expensive cars in the world, the ones that only they can get because they can afford it. But which cars would those be exactly? Allow us to show you the most expensive cars in 2020. Number 9. 1964 Ford GT40. To start this list off, let's talk about a classic car brand, Ford. The 1964 Ford GT40 was born out of the need for competition, much like many other vehicles that would come after it. The 1964 Ford GT40 was built with the purpose of beating Ferrari on the racetrack, and so this very special ride was made to do just that. It didn't exactly achieve its goal, but it's still pretty special, and what's more, the prototype for this car sold for about $7 million back in 2014, showing that when it comes to history and important cars in a company's life, the sky can truly be the limit. Number 8. Rolls-Royce Sweptail. In 2013, a billionaire came to Rolls-Royce and asked the historic auto house to design his own custom car, which is obviously a very bold thing to say, yet they did it, and what came of this was the Rolls-Royce Sweptail. The Sweptail features the silhouette, round doors, and tail designs of historic Rolls models, with the benefit of 21st century technology and comfort. The ceiling of the car is one unbroken pane of durable glass, offering its driver a panoramic view of the world around him as it goes racing by, which is something many cars on the road today couldn't hope to offer. But that's not the only luxury feature. Rather, this is a car with a champagne chiller, crystal flutes, titanium analog clocks, carbon fiber laptop stations, and even a customized hat shelf. Again, this was a car built specifically for a billionaire. But here's where the twist comes in. They only made one as it was for him. So while it cost $13 million to make, more or less, this is the most expensive luxury car that you literally can't buy. Number 7. Bugatti La Voiture Noire. Bugatti, a French classic car manufacturer, decided that their 2019 supercar needed no flashy introduction or more nuanced marketing for its next major arrival. Rather, they wanted to let the car speak for itself, and it did just that. Jean Bugatti lost a beautiful Type 57 SC Atlantic vehicle in World War II. La Voiture Noire is dedicated to the memory of that beloved car, and it's clear he really wanted to do that car proud because, well, look at this magnificent vehicle. With a handcrafted carbon fiber body, quad-turbo W16 8-liter engine with a stunning 1,500 horsepower capacity, the car screams elegance and power. When it debuted in 2019, it was the most expensive new car available for purchase. With or without the story that drove its creation, the Bugatti La Voiture Noire is the most expensive luxury car at nearly $19 million in cost. Number 6. 1961 Ferrari 250 GT California SWB Spider. The 1961 Ferrari 250 GT California SWB Spider is a close resemblance to the car that was in Ferris Bueller's Day Off, which is still a classic movie despite being decades old. There were only about 55 of these Ferraris ever made, and thus, its rarity drove up the price and its value overall. In fact, it's one of the most sought-after Ferraris in the world today. And in case you were curious, the last one of these cars ever sold was for a whopping $17.2 million. That would give Ferris many days off, we're just saying. Number 5. Helica de Layat. The Helica de Layat could actually not be referred to as a car. Why? One look at the ride would likely fill you in on that, as there's a propeller on top of it and it doesn't have an engine. This vehicle was created in 1921 and was described as a plane without wings. This was not only because of the propeller, but because passengers sat in front of one another and not side by side. Despite its backwards engineering, it was actually able to go a blistering 105 miles per hour. Remember, this was 1921, and this kind of speed was an extreme rarity compared to now where it's more standard. Speaking of rarity, there were only 30 ever made, so add the number to the age and it comes to a price of about $20 million. Not bad for something that isn't a car, right? Number 4. 1962 Aston Martin DB4 GT Zagato. Aston Martin is what you think of when you picture British car development, and you might think of James Bond as well, since the spy has had many Aston Martin cars over the years. But one of the rarest and most expensive of the lot belongs to the 1962 Aston Martin DB4 GT Zagato. It was shown to the world at the 1960 London Motor Show as a lightened, improved version of the standard DB4 GT. It was later taken back to the Zagato factory in Italy, where improvements were made to the ride. One of the reasons it's so rare is because 25 of ththese cars were to be made, but production stopped once they reached 20. So having a single one is having a piece of history. The car was powered by a 3.7-liter twin-spark straight-six engine that produced 314 horsepower, had a 0 to 60 acceleration time of 6.1 seconds, and a top speed of 154 miles per hour. Furthermore, many of the components for the ride from one model to the next were replaced with lighter parts, making it 100 pounds lighter and thus able to get to top speed even faster. The 1962 Aston Martin DB4 GT Zagato was so popular among car fans that it eventually had many spin-offs and second-generation versions made, but the original was still the most popular and the most valuable. One of the originals sold at an auction for an incredible $14.3 million, proving that it wasn't just famous spies who loved this kind of car. Number 3. Rolls-Royce 15 HP. The Rolls-Royce 15 HP isn't just a special brand of Rolls-Royce or an anniversary model. It's the very first one. We mean that in the very literal fashion. This is the vehicle that started the legendary brand, and it was made in 1904. The model was shown off in Paris with other variants of the car. Now sure, overall, compared to many of the other cars on this list, it's not that impressive. In fact, its top speed was only 39 miles per hour. But remember, this isn't about speed or aesthetic, it's about history. Furthermore, there were only 6 of this model made, and 5 of them are believed to be gone, which means that there's only one left of this history-making car, and due to that, it's valued at $30 million. Would you pay that much for history? Many honestly would. Number 2. 1957 Ferrari 250 Testarossa. The 1957 Ferrari 250 Testarossa is a world-renowned car, one that accumulated numerous race victories during its tenure and forced many other car companies to get creative and try to beat it. And it took a long time to do that feat. The Testarossa wasn't just known for speed, but it was known for its style. Everything about it screams great design quality and creative minds. With 34 built, that makes it rare by default, and when you add in the history of this fine vehicle, the price goes up. The ironic thing though is that an unrestored version of the Testarossa was sold at auction for over $39 million. So now imagine one that's restored to all its former glory. It'd be worth a whole lot more. Number 1. 1962 GTO Ferrari. In terms of the most expensive car ever sold at auction, and thus the most valuable and expensive car today, that would go to the 1962 GTO Ferrari that was sold at RM Sotheby's as part of the Pebble Beach Concours d'Elegance. For the record, this was an auction that was flooded with top-notch cars and rides, and yet this GTO Ferrari came out on top when it sold for $48.4 million, making it officially the most expensive car ever sold at auction. This very special Ferrari was only made by the company 36 times and was mainly a racing car, but over time, its rarity brought in more people to want it. In fact, some even refer to this car as the holy grail of cars. Another reason this car sold for so much was that it was considered one of the most beautiful and elegant cars ever made, which says a lot about the car given that it was made over 66 years ago. But as the car world has shown time and time again, sometimes the best way to make something valuable is to make it right the first time and just wait for more and more people to want it. So, what do you think? What do you think of this look at various expensive cars and why they are indeed some of the most expensive ones in the world today? Which of these cars were you personally shocked by their price tag? Which ones do you wish you could own and drive? Do you feel another car should be on the list? Let us know in the comments below, be sure to subscribe, and we'll see you next time on the channel.